my god, that whole time I was speaking on mute. Jeez. I muted myself. Okay. So this is why I do these streams, to make sure I don't make these mistakes a lot. I'm gonna have to go through post-processing and edit all that out. But essentially what this thing here is a letter that I got back. I'm gonna have to back it up a little bit and explain everything that happened. Sorry. Oops. Okay, so, to recap what I just said to no one but my house, a couple of weeks ago, if you follow my videos, you saw that I had an adrenal crisis, and the first hospital that I went to didn't give me the steroids that I need right away. They sent me home without treatment, and later on that day I got much sicker, and I had to go to another hospital where they did diagnose me with an adrenal crisis and give me the proper treatment as soon as they could. I left a pretty nasty review about that first hospital that I went to, about the emergency room and the protocol that they followed, which could have killed somebody. Adrenal insufficiency can be fatal if left untreated. Luckily in my case, I kind of went in a little earlier. I could tell the symptoms were coming on fast, and having had an adrenal crisis in the past, I knew that that's what this probably was. So when I went to that first ER and they turned me away, I had some time before things got dramatically worse. They sent me home, and I stayed home for about 6 hours before my health declined to the point where I was very, very ill, and I had to go to another ER, where they did treat me, like I said. But the first ER that I went to said that they were going to review what happened, and today I got this letter in the mail. Here. Yeah. I'm not going to say the name of the hospital out loud, but the hospital that I had gone to the first time isn't alone in this mistake. Unfortunately, across the country, and in Indiana in particular, adrenal insufficiency protocol isn't really well understood, I think. Adrenal Insufficiency United is a really great organization that's trying to spread awareness of what to do in an adrenal crisis, and what emergency room protocol should be. Unfortunately, in my case, when I went to that first ER, instead of giving me the steroids right away as they should have, they left me in a patient waiting room for a while. I was, in a bed and everything, but they didn't really give me any treatment. I was left in there for a few hours. They took blood, and they took urine samples, and they took my blood pressure and stuff. Well, hello there, MJax. Hi. Thanks for joining. But anyway, I was obviously very sick. I'd had an adrenal crisis before. I knew what it felt like, and I told them that's what it was. But they ignored me, pretty much gaslighted me into thinking I was a hypochondriac, and sent me home about 3 hours later with no care. They gave me prescriptions for pain meds for my abdominal pain and nausea medication. Nausea medication was great. I will say that. I've still got that on hand in case this happens again. But they didn't treat my adrenal crisis. I didn't get the 100 milligrams of Soy-Cortef that somebody having an adrenal crisis needs. So later on that day, I was much sicker, and I had to go to another ER where I received treatment. But after that happened, oh, you're about to see a cat. 1 second. Say hi, Dova. Say bye, Dova. Okay. So, after that had happened, I wrote a review on the hospital's, I wrote a review on the hospital on the ER, both on Google and on Facebook. They didn't really like that too much. They got in touch with me and talked with me about it and said that they were going to review what happened and kind of see if they need to change their protocol or, make sure that the proper protocol was followed at least. And I received this letter in the mail today, and I'll just read you what it says. Skipping the hospital's name. I really don't need to shame them in particular. I know that this is something that's a statewide issue. Hopefully things will change, but in the meantime, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. They did follow the procedure they thought they needed to. This is something that needs changed across the country. But anyway, the letter says, Dear Miss Amberman, that's me. I am a physician administrator at blank hospital emergency department. I have been informed that you have had a visit here on April 28th that you were unhappy with your care. I have reviewed this complaint and your medical record and will try to respond in this letter. I apologize that your care did not meet your expectations. When a patient presents to the emergency department, our primary role is to diagnose and stabilize emergency conditions. With the symptoms you were experiencing, one would expect a complete nursing assessment, a complete set of vital signs, and an examination by a qualified care provider. These were done with no clinical evidence of an emergent process or adrenal crisis at the time. You are correct, this condition can be preceded by nonspecific symptoms, something that I said in the phone call. I will review your case with your treating physician. Certainly, we regret that you became worse and had to return to another emergency department. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to review your care. I have, and I assure you that the appropriate... blah, 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 blah. I have and assure you that it was appropriate and performed with your best interest in mind. If you should have any other questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. And gave me some contact information that I could reply with. So they say that they followed the proper protocol. Unfortunately, if I had listened to their advice and I stayed home and did not seek further care, I mean, adrenal insufficiency can be fatal. I don't want to be melodramatic, but it's entirely possible that I could have died. And if in a case, more serious than my own, if somebody else had been turned away and didn't go to another ER like I had done, they could have died. And I don't want that to happen. Like I had said before, unfortunately, that has happened in the past. Hello! My cat's meowing. But anyway, unfortunately, that has happened in the... She never does this. Like, when I'm not streaming, she never does this. Sorry. Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, unfortunately, there have been cases where other patients have died because of this, and that should not be happening. This is a very preventable death. And education is super important. She's laying on my mouse now. Well, apparently I'm not allowed to stream anymore. My cat says so. But there's a little recap on what's happened. The next thing that I plan to do is I'm going to... She's putting her paw on me. Can you see this nonsense, people? Yes. Hello. Hello, kitty cat. We see you. You're very disruptive. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to work with the Adrenal Insufficiency United and see if they can help kind of guide me on how to change policy in my state so that this sort of thing does not happen again. Which, I mean, it really shouldn't. I'm pretty distressed that they're not actively trying to fix this. But we'll see. But in the meantime, I do plan on streaming JackBox games every Tuesday, I want to say. And that's just to, test the stream, make sure everything's running smoothly, so that I can kind of learn from mistakes like I have at the beginning of this video, which you're probably not seeing because I'm going to edit this out in post-processing. But, yeah. All that fun stuff. So I'll see you on Tuesdays about 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll post to Twitter before I go live. So if you follow me on Twitter @InsomniaDoodles, you'll get a little heads up. And you'll know. But just generally expect me to be there on Tuesday evenings, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully everything goes well and I'll be able to see you then. But this has been a heck of a video. And I have learned from my disruptive kitty that she probably needs to be put in another room during this time. But yeah, I'm learning bit by bit how to stream properly. The Q&A is going to be coming eventually. Things are in the works. I've got an interview with the Magic Foundation scheduled for sometime next week. Super excited. That way I'll have some pre-recorded interviews. I am speaking with Adrenal Insufficiency United still, and I'm trying to lock in an interview with the Pituitary Network Association. So just stay in touch, and we'll do more things. It'll be fun. Let's educate people and, prevent preventable deaths.